tie match at the drop. Double gen pop to avoid the deadlock. They do go down. There is a haste status effect. They do have to be careful here. The hatch is going to spawn momentarily. Dead Hard could get them the distance to get it too. Shot.
Really smart play on the ace. Oh my god, getting shot through the window.
No longer have distortion, and they are gonna teleport here. I think they get there in time. Yes!
Oh, the grab! Yes!
Oh my god!
That is disappointing. This is to be a 4-man out because.
Yeah, but they will be able to block this. Yo, getting caught on that. Ace coming with the body block. Oh, they were here.
All right, and we are back. This time, though, for round number 2, we got Misery versus Cynic, or Cynic. I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm pretty sure it's Cynic. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat. Either ways, we are going to be seeing their Cenobite versus Misery Survivor team on the Dead Dog Saloon. So pretty excited about that. Let's see what they are capable of. And it is going to be Ultra piloting them today. We do in fact see a little bit of corrupt intervention, though it is pretty well split. And we see the use of the chains as a little bit of scouting there. Very cheeky. I do enjoy that, though, finding 3 survivors here over in Maine. But Cenobite not wanting to chase them there. Will instead venture out into the corner here in search for the box potentially. Was thinking at first that they're looking for a survivor, but knowing where they spawn, it wouldn't have been there. It's very possible the box instead may have been over by the water wheel. We do see crows disappear over in the distance behind those buildings. And we also see a few wayward survivors here, specifically the Ada, who will vault over and get chained to boot. Life, though, still getting them enough distance to the window, but not enough to not be hit. That is brutal, to say the least. Chains once again incoming, and looks like we see a little bit of original pain and the impaling wire, which will result in a down here at the pallet. However, Adam is still lurking around and will get the chains on them once again, this time at the window, but impaling wire just doing work as Ducky gets chained up to the walls again and again. Looks like they are not going to go for the pickup right away. Instead, getting the chain there on the Atom before going for the pickup. Maybe a bit fearful of a potential balanced landing, but we will see the first hook here, and that there is in fact a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, as we do see the damage generator score event notification popping on up. Adam up there on main, but Cenobite unable to get the chain up there in order to get a little bit of interruption. I'm definitely thinking that Adam potentially has a bit of balanced landing in play. However, do want to note here that no other survivors have been seen thus far, at least while Ada has been on the hook. Cenobite once again using their possessed chain for a little bit of scouting as they do try and push this Ada to second stage. Cenobite once again scouting out, seeing the survivors behind main right there and trying to see what is going on. Maybe a little bit of spectator bug here as they're just facing the floor before kind of waking up a little bit and going, oh, there's a survivor nearby. There's one hit, there's two, and they can tunnel out the Ada here with the original Sin, as this will negate borrowed time, as they are going to be put into the Mending and Deep Wound stats effect. So Ada now having to make ways around main. We did see someone go into that locker there, potentially a head-on play, and it is in fact a head-on, buying the Ada some precious time, as Adam here will get chained once again. It looks like it will be a fresh down on the Adam, and looks like we will see another hook on the Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. Really well played by both sides there. Realistically speaking, Cenobite in a really good position as we do see the gen at main regressed by 50% from Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get that Tull out on the Ada in time, but Survivor's playing it very well to ensure just that. Looking around, seeing scratch marks as they do approach the hook, though, looks like the Meg, in fact, did not go for it, instead opting to go elsewhere, potentially waiting for some backup as the Ace will find the box, and I imagine will start completing it soon as to take some attention away from the hook and the Atom. However, Ace getting interrupted. Ada coming in for the unhook. They will attempt it, but they might not get it in time. They do. Ada goes down. Adam going to get tunneled out, it looks. And looks like that will be the original Pain coming in once again. And Impaling Wire slowing things down. Adam jumping in the locker, potentially a decisive strike. We'll have to wait and see. And it does appear that there is no decisive strike in play. Okay, so Cynic. So Cynic like cynical. Makes sense, makes sense. I was thinking that were the case, but I wasn't sure. Appreciate the heads up there. That being said, Ada will be put on a hook for another time here. And this actually some really good plays here as Giltspire is now on death hook. 1 gen completed. Ultra in command of this match against Misery's Survivor team. And now they're just going to kind of hang out between these two hooks. And looks like they will be going for the hit on the Ace. Though I imagine they'll instead go for the Tull out on the Ada here, wanting to get rid of that borrowed time, trying to get the hit with that Possessed Chain, but unable to do so on that corner. Ada making a pretty good amount of distance, but by the time the Cenobite reaches them, borrowed time might just be over. Ada getting caught out here with the chains once again. Impaling Wire coming in, and that is the down. Without a decisive strike, that means Ada will be sent back to Campfire via the entity, and once again, another 15% off of this generator, at least the most progressed one, with Scourge Hook Pain Resonance incoming.
Are a waste of good suffering.
So, really good stuff here by the Cenobite. Always love seeing some top-notch Cenobite play. Meg, though, dodging the chain, and looks like Adam with the box in hand. Honestly, not the best person to be solving the box, I'd say, as they have been hooked twice thus far, and thus are in a little bit of a pickle, especially with that Impaling Wire there, stopping them from doing pretty much anything, getting 2 tapped on the down, and this will mean Ducky, the Atom, will be sent back to the Campfire via the entity here in just a moment. And that there will be another 50% regression, the most progressed gen. And looks like Gen's really not progressed well here. It's very possibly going to be a 4K at 1 gen completed if these survivors are not able to do something quick. Ultra has been playing the Cenobite to an absolute T, though Meg will get a little bit of distance here with the life, but will not be able to get too much here as they'll get to the pallet, but these chains will stop them from throwing it down the way they want to, but able to work around the Cenobite and their chains. A little bit of mind gaming here as we're just going to kind of sit here until the Possessed Chain is ready to go, and looks like Meg will take the hit, but will get some distance for it, not getting double tapped from the Possessed Chain. However, another chain incoming. Impaling Wire trying to do its job, but a lot of obstacles there and some more distance from the Meg. However, not a lot of resources here from them to work with, but dodging the Possessed Chain. Ace still nowhere to be seen, very likely on a gen, just trying to crank out as many as possible given the circumstances and the score disparity that they're trying to avoid. Though, with that in mind, looks like Cenobite opted to say, you know what, I need to take a break from this chase. Let's take a look at what the gens look like, but no sign of the Ace nor what gen they were working on. So this is a little bit of a pickle here for the Cenobite, unsure of where they might be. It's very possible the intention here is not to get another gen, but instead to simply get the Ace out via the hatch. However, Ace there over in main. We did see them prepped and ready for the drop down, as well as Meg down in front of main as they try and make their way away from the Cenobite, at least attempting to get them to follow them, allowing the Ace to work on the gens, but now with Chain Hunt incoming, it's going to be very difficult for them to do, as Cenobite will get another Possessed Chain and Impaling Wire doing its work, and looks like Meg will end up going down here shortly, unless they're able to do something quick. And they will not get to the pallet in time, as we see a skill check miss up there on main, 10% off the gen. And looks like Meg will be going up on this hook, whether or not the Scourge Hook Pain Resistance, honestly, I think is probably pretty irrelevant. However, it is in fact a Scourge Hook, regressing that gen by 15%. And at this point in time, Ace kind of in a pickle here, as the Cenobite is going to be laying in wait for them to drop down for the unhook on the Meg. We'll have to wait and see here if they're able to get there in time, and sure enough, with Bounce Landing, they will have plenty of distance in order to do just that. However, Meg will be unhooked directly in the face of the Cenobite, and Chain Hunt once again coming to harass these survivors with those chains. Ace now taking a hit. Cenobite wanting to spread the pressure between the two survivors and getting a very clean Possessed Chain hit on the Ace, as Impaling Wire will also continue to harass them. Ace, though, playing smart, playing clean, will not get hit with the Possessed Chain, instead taking some hits from the Chain Hunt instead. And this will be Ace's, actually, potentially first hook here, in fact. As, yeah, that was Ace's first hook. Meg with the box, though, needs to do something quick, but can't do it too quickly, as at this point in time, Cenobite going to be able to track them and teleport right to them while they're injured. That is not a place you'll want to be. However, Meg trying their best to get back to the Ace, do something in order to get their team a few extra points. But I think all of it might just be in vain, as they have to wait 60 seconds as Ace hangs on the hook, with an additional at least 15 for the animation. Looks like Cenobite a little bit too close to that pallet, as they will take the stun, but Meg not making a lot of distance for what it's worth. And Cenobite getting a little bit aggressive with those chains, but Meg playing just a little bit better. Meg with the vault, no life there, no distance gain, and that there will be down, and Chain Hunt started up once again for all that it's worth. And looks like we are in fact going to see a 4K at 1 generated completed from Cynic's Killer, Ultra, and the Cenobite. We're going to have to wait and see if Misery's Killer is going to be able to respond in kind, but only time will tell. However, before we do get the next lobby set up, we are going to go on a quick break. As always, we do want to remind everyone here today that you, yes, you, the viewers, are our sponsors here at COTF. So the ads that you watch, all the bits that you tip, all the subs they buy, and of course all the rogue energy you buy using the code COTF goes to supporting Champs of the Fog and our prize pools for Group A and Group B. With that being said, we're going to be back in just a bit. right, and we are back. This time, we are going to be seeing Misery Cenobite versus Cynic Survivor Team. With that being said, they have quite the uphill battle in order to claim victory, let alone a tie. Realistically speaking, they are going to need to get a 4K at 0 gens as Cenobite in order to claim victory, and a 4K at 1 gen in order to claim a tie. Any more gens completed than that will result in a loss for Misery and victory for Cynic. With that being said, the Cenobite is out on the prowl trying to find these survivors, and they will find one there in Maine. Question is whether or not they'll be able to get a quick down for it. There is the Steve, but understanding the win condition, trying to prioritize the active gens first off and foremost. And for that, they will end up finding a survivor here. Looks to be the Quentin, as they will try and make their way over towards Maine, a place that any M1 killer is going to have to be very, very careful of, as Quentin will take the hit and will reveal the existence of Sloppy Butcher and Thanatophobia, as we also see Claudette down in the main portion of the main building. However, Quentin getting a bit faked out there, potentially a head-on play incoming. No head-on, in fact. No hesitation from the Cenobite either, and they will get the down on the Quentin Ultra. And looks like this will be the first hook of this match. If in instance they are able to utilize the Thanatophobia in addition to their other perks, they might just be able to make this happen. However, we do see one survivor up there on the gallows, wondering if we are going to see a bit of a body block, but in fact we are not. Instead, we are going to see a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance incoming, as we do see multiple survivors moving off their generators, and looks like this will be a hit on the Yui. Going to be seeing another stack of the Thanatophobia incoming, and Steve as well. The question is, where might the Claudette be? We did see her over in Maine earlier. However, she is going to be here for the unhook on the Quentin, and looks like we're going to see a bit of a cheeky play here, as we will get the down on Ultra for the potential tunnel out. Steve, though, here to harass the Cenobite, will go for the stun play, but will in fact get it. Was surprised not to see the hit there, and looks like Steve will continue to harass, just sitting there at the pallet, as Ultra's still on the ground underneath the pallet here. Steve just trying to give them as much time as possible to potentially complete this next generator. However, they will take a hit here, making them a little bit of a target, and looks like they will be able to avoid that possessed chain. Question is if Steve will come in for the pickup anyways, and looks like Steve just kind of hanging out here as the possessed chain will income, but will miss nonetheless. Trying to get a little bit of a play there, but Steve not close enough for the pallet drop. And looks like we will see another Scourge Hook Pain Resonance incoming. 3 survivors currently injured. They need to get that 4th one for the full effect of the Thanatophobia. And we will see another survivor up there in Maine. Bit of a tricky situation here for the Cenobite, to say the least. Like we said earlier, their win condition is a 4K at 0 gens completed. However, the issue therein lies that a tie is a 4K at 1 gen. Honestly, I would say that is probably the best case scenario, and I'm thinking here that they should probably teleport over to the box, but opting not to. Instead, going to try and protect Maine, which is going to be very difficult for them to do, as we will see, I believe, a healthy Claudette here, and they will regress it by... Never mind, looks like instead we're going to get a little bit of a blast mine as the first gen pops off, and that now sets it in place. We have a tie condition for these survivors. If in instance the Cenobite was able to get the 4K here and now, round 2 for Cynic and Misery would end in a draw. However, if the main building does get completed, that will result in a win for Cynic, as they'll have a 2-point lead over Misery no matter the results thereafter. And sure enough, there it is, second generator completed. At this point in time, both sides just playing for their honor, as the match has been decided, and Cynic will walk away victorious in round 2. They'll be going into round 3 with a 2-0 victory. Who their opponent will be, yet to be determined, but they will be playing for the, I believe that is going to be, what, the 5th invite? No. We got 2, 4, 6, 7th invite to Champs and Fog Season 6. We'll have to wait and see as they are prowling around. They do have a pretty tight 3-gen here. The question is whether or not they have enough hooks in order to hook these remaining survivors. And looks like the Steve trying to bait the Cenobite away from this 3-gen will not be able to make it happen, as we will see them just going to prowl around, ignoring the other generators in their entirety. Though maybe I spoke a little bit too soon, as the Cenobite will venture out, checking the progress on these remaining generators, finding the Claudette out in the distance. The question is whether or not they're going to be able to get a quick down on her. Trying to do a little bit of mind game there. Will get a bit of distance, and the Possessed Chain will slow them down just that much more, especially the Impaling Wire getting in the way, resulting in a hit on the Claudette. Possessed Chain incoming as well, and once again slowing things down, but not slow enough, as they will still make that window vault, but they will potentially bounce landing. That was in fact a bounce landing. Really smart usage of it too. However, that Impaling Wire and Possessed Chain will confirm the down here on the Claudette. But while they did that chase, I imagine these survivors have been hard at work completing these last 3 generators. However, their work will go for naught, as the most progressed gen will get regressed by 15% from Scourge Choke Pain Resonance. And we will now be in a chase with the Steve. Honestly, this is probably the best case scenario for the Cenobite at this point in time. 1 survivor dead, 3 survivors, 1 on hook. That's going to allow them to just kind of chain these hooks back to back to back, really making sure that these survivors are not able to do much, if anything, on these gens, lest they risk their survivor teammates progressing to 2nd stage and or death hook. But Steve with the life will in fact get the unhook, and we are going to see a potential tunnel up play here with that original Sin. However, unable to get it done in time, they are going to break chase with the Claudette, instead now going for the Steve. I do want to point out, though, that Chain Hunt is soon to begin, as these survivors have avoided the box all this time. Yui, though, kind of nowhere to be seen, very likely to be on a gen here, but Steve will get chained up. Impaling Wire trying to get some hits in, but unable to do so effectively, and there is the Yui on the box to try and avoid the Chain Hunt. Steve, once again, getting hit by the Impaling Wire and Possessed Chain, but not really gaining or losing, in this case, much distance. No bounce landing here, as we did see that earlier on the Claudette, and they will get the down on the Steve at the window. Honestly, really good plays here by the Cenobite. A little bit of a long chase, but survivors have not been able to do much in the way of these gens. They've kind of been capped out here for quite some time. 2 survivors injured, 1 now on a hook. Thanatophobia getting a little bit of value, not much in the grand scheme of things. Once again, another Scourge Choke Pain Resonance incoming to slow things down by 15%. However, we now need to find the Claudette or the Yui, and we do see crows back there in the corner, suggesting that a survivor is nearby. However, it is the Yui meeting Claudette on the unhook, and we are going to see them continue chase here. Firecracker trying to blind the Cenobite button, and able to do so in time. It looks like the Cenobite is actually going to prioritize the hit on the gen before the chase on survivors. And Cenobite at this point losing track of where everyone might end up being. And we do see the Claudette getting healed, very likely underneath the hook, as we also see the Yui trying to heal themselves through the deep wound status effect applied earlier by the original Sin. We do see Claudette here as well, this time chained up once again. No Impaling Wire this time around, but getting to a tile to slow things down. But a swing and a miss there by the Cenobite, and another Possessed Chain incoming, but a bit of a fake on both sides, resulting in a hit on the Claudette. Steve will get healed, very likely from the Yui, and they're now trying to get their attention with the box. But looks like we are going to see a teleport there on the injured Yui, and they are going to be in a bit of an interesting situation, as they will avoid the Possessed Chain, but unable to get much distance. Cenobite will continue their pursuit. Though maybe I spoke too soon, as we do see them dropping off here and instead finding the Claudette in the middle of no man's land, and Claudette trying to make their way away from that most progressed gen there in the corner. However, we are going to see that Claudette is going to lose a little bit of distance on that tile and taking the down as well. If they're able to get another Scourge Stroke Pain Resonance, that might slow things down just enough, though it's looking quite clear that we are going to see a 4K here. It all comes down to how many gens will these survivors complete, though maybe I shouldn't count them out just yet. We'll have to wait and see what comes from this match. Claude, though, now on hook. 3 gens still in place for the Cenobite. Honestly, they are incentivized to sit here on Gallows, lording over their territory down below. The question is whether or not these survivors will complete the gen in the distance over there by, I would say, the village, I call it, or the buildings. But so far, no sign of survivors with less than 30 seconds left on this hook state. The question is whether or not they will attempt the unhook or just secure the 4th gen and play out with the 3 gen thereafter. And sure enough, that looks to be the case, as Claudette will end up being sent back to the campfire via the entity. And these last 2 survivors are going to have to try and play around this 3 gen, but it's going to be very much easier said than done. Question is whether or not they are going to reset before doing so, and what they're going to do about Chain Hunt all the while. Chain Hunt is going to give the Cenobite a ton of information throughout the match, especially if they attempt to grab the box in order to get rid of it. And looks like survivors down below and scratch marks leading the Cenobite towards the main building. But so far, we do see a chain there over by Water Wheel, and sure enough, there is the box. Cenobite really wanted to get this chain here to slow things down, but unable to do so. They will now be in chase with the Yui, trying to do a little bit of mind gaming here, and will successfully get the Yui off that building and over towards the Water Wheel. However, ducking below the possessed chain, they will get the pallet stun as well, even with Cenobite on the same side out of the pallet as them. Ping just a little bit in their favor, as Cenobite will now drop chase. Going back to the gen in the corner here, we do see Crows and a lithe attempt there from the Steve, but taking the hit before they're able to get across the pallet in time. And looks like they are going to pursue the Steve across the map, though they have gotten quite a lot of distance here. And another attempted possess chain with a swing and a miss. And things are grinding down to a slow but steady halt. This gen does not have a lot of progress, so honestly, Cenobite probably could take the time to pursue one of these survivors, not having to worry about their 3 gen being broken. I'd say at the very least, they have 60 seconds on each of these gens in order for them to be completed. However, Cenobite really wanting to get this 4K against Cynic here, and not wanting to give up any remaining generators, risking a potential out by these survivors. Though having to keep in mind as well that both Yui and Steve are not that close to being sent back to the campfire via the entity. Yui with 0 hooks thus far, and Steve with only 1, meaning that they are in a pretty good position to keep this game a-rolling if they so choose. Steve now with the box, maybe trying to draw out the Cenobite, and looks like they will do just that. However, they did use their possessed chain, mistiming it there just a little, but Steve will take that possessed chain there and will be in a little bit of a pickle, as Impelling Wire will try and reapply some chains, and successfully doing so will slow Steve down quite a lot, as Lithe will get them some distance, but not as much as I imagined they were hoping. Another attempt to get away from the Cenobite, a little bit of mind game, and looks like Steve actually just saying, you know what, screw the mind games, I'm just leaving here, as they'll make another attempt at the box, potentially trying to bait out the Cenobite and taking their attention away from this back gen, but not able to do so effectively, as Yui here in this back corner is in a little bit of a pickle. The Cenobite with a cheeky head shake saying, no, I see you. And I believe that there will secure the 4K here for the Cenobite, unless we see a very cheeky match escape. Cenobite with the cheeky mind game there, unable to do so effectively, though Yui injured and in the deep wound stats effect. Looks like they will make their way towards the water wheel. I'm not actually sure what they might have in the way of exhaustion perks, potentially a head-on, and we will see them moving towards this next area. Cenobite with a little bit of a misaimed possessed chain there, unfortunately, meaning that they will drop chase once again. Cenobite just committing to their 3-gen, not wanting to give up any amount of pressure. And looks like they will end up taking this gen here, another 2.5% off the gen, plus 0.3% per second thereafter. And looks like these gens are all but regressed to 0. We will note that Yui's still with their broken, or not broken, but mending deep wound stats effect. And looks like Steve will now take the attention of the Cenobite. Surprised to see that Yui has not in some capacity taken off their... Okay, it looks like Cenobite just said, you know what, no, we're just going to keep things rolling. I mean, these gens are pretty much regressed to nothing. I really do not see a reason for this to be extended past this point, especially as the game has been decided prior to this. But Yui getting caught out in the corner, knowing that they are unable to heal, especially through the likes of Sloppy Butcher, and another men's stats effect incoming with the Original Sin and the down on the Yui. Maybe the Cenobites... I know I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again for all of you watching here today. Please be respectful of your opponents, especially as you are a killer, and be understanding that we do not approve of behavior such as that we saw here today. So, Ducky, you will be getting a warning and a talking to from some armed forces here. Do keep in mind, after enough verbal warnings, you will get a warning for yourself and for your team, which could lead to disqualification. So just a little bit of a heads up there. That being said, potentially the intention of the Cenobite was to find the Yui, as they are unable to suicide out of the match as quickly as the Steve being on second hook. However, Steve trying to get the attention of the Cenobite will successfully do so, as they will teleport to the box. However, Cenobite ended up in the main building's isolated room, as Steve now will get hit by that possessed chain, and that there will solidify the end of this match, as Steve will get picked up for the final time here and will be put on the hook to close out this match and this round, as we'll be moving into round 3 shortly. Cynic with the 2-0 victory, and they now will be in striking distance of receiving the 7th invite for Champs of the Fog Season 6. That being said, guys, we are going to take a quick little break before we jump into the next round. As a reminder, we are partnered with Pugdom. Pugdom is a Dead by Daylight competitive community very similar to that of Champions of the Fog. In fact, they're going to be hosting the second half of Champions of the Fog this season. They'll be hosting the entirety of Group B and are in fact doing qualifiers as we speak. With that being said, definitely make sure to stop on by, say hi, and drop a follow as well. But we will be back in just a little bit. We'll see you soon.